We're so honored to have Yuna on the Light Breakfast with us. Hi, Yuna. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us for a little chat here on the Light Breakfast.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for having me.
You know, when we think of a successful Malaysian overseas, right? You are the first name that pops up. First of all, I think the whole Malaysia, we are all so proud of you for being
Thank
you,
you.
even though you're now like a big name in America. Now, maybe we can rewind a little bit and tell us about your growing up years back here in Malaysia. You grew up in Kedah and Selangor?
Wow, I grew up in a lot of different places in
Really?
Malaysia. Yeah, so my dad is my dad and my mom, they're government servants. So, my dad would he was a judge and then, like legal advisors for different states. So we would move around a lot. So as a kid, I was in Penang for a little bit, and then I was in KL. No, not KL. I mean Selangor, and then we moved to Subang Jaya, and then Perlis, and then Pahang. So a lot of at one point, I think when I was like a baby, I was in Kelantan. So I remember specifically growing up and not being able to have like best friends for a long time. Like once I make that connection with a friend, I have to move already. So I have to like adapt, being at different places and making friends. So I think that helped me a lot lah, as a grown up.
You're like a nomad.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
but she is truly Malaysian. She's lived in almost every state
That's true.
here in Peninsular Malaysia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it was fun, as a kid. I enjoyed music. I enjoyed singing. So my mom would take me to all these different like auditions and just for fun, And I remember I would just go and not expecting to get anything, just go and wait for, I don't know, 5 hours. Normally like auditions are like that. You just wait and then okay, you sing, and then okay, thank you so much. It's always like that. I'm so used to like, okay, thank you so much, and then like nothing. So yeah, that was my childhood.
But you knew from a very young age that you wanted to be a singer-songwriter, right?
Well, I knew I wanted to do something in music, but when I became like a teenager, I was a little bit older than, just like, oh, I want to be a singer. I understood what it takes to be a singer, and I didn't like it, like, oh, if I want to be a singer, I have to sing like this, like, but I I don't want to be that kind of singer. So I didn't know what kind of musician that I wanted to be. So when I started writing my own songs, that was when, okay, like this is something that I really enjoy doing. I really love writing my own songs and performing my own songs. So after that, like there was no looking back lah. I just like went like 110% like into my own music, So yeah.
Okay. So when you were younger, you didn't think that you'd be anything else but a musician.
No, I had like a lot of different dreams, I wanted to be like marine scientist lah, all these like different things. But a lawyer, I grew up just watching my dad in the office, being a judge, I would see him like getting ready, going into, like I would follow him to the office. So I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool, and then I went to law school, like, oh, not really.
As I
So
was
yeah.
doing my research yesterday, I just found out that you actually took part in a reality singing competition in 2006, I think, for a local TV station
Yeah.
when you were only 19.
Yeah.
And you said earlier that your mom would put you in on all these auditions and all that. Was this your mom's idea as well, or did you wanted to do this reality show yourself?
This was my idea. I think like this was after a long time. I took a break, from singing. Like I was kind of like not bitter, but I was like, merajuk lah. I don't want to do it anymore. Like it's not my thing anymore. And then I found out Malaysia had its own Malaysian Idol, or like, like its own like a huge audition like that, like American Idol, yeah.
Mm-mm.
So I wanted to take part because I was a huge fan of the show, and so yeah, I just went for it. I didn't know what to expect again, like I just like, okay, well, let's just go see what happens, and yeah, I got accepted, and then after 3 rounds, I think, yeah, they sent me back home.
Man. Well, wait, let's backtrack
Yeah.
a bit. What's with
Yeah.
all this merajuk that's going on here? What happened?
Oh, so I don't know. It was just like a weird time, like a teenager. Like I wanted to sing, but I knew I wasn't that kind of singer. So every time I would send demos, I would go to auditions, and
All right.
people would say no to me. So I'm just like, well, I'm getting tired of this. At the time I was like, I'm getting old. I'm not
Oh,
gonna.
typical teenager.
I'm getting old. I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. I don't want to dedicate my life to this, going to auditions, So I think I just took a break lah. Like I still loved music. Like I love going to concerts and shows, like I would go to like No Doubt concert when they came to KL. So yeah, I was still very much into music. I just didn't like having to sing like other artists, like Christina Aguilera. I had to be that kind of singer, and I couldn't sing like that. So I think when I started writing my own songs, I knew how to sing those songs my way. So yeah, that's how it happened.
And there was an interesting fact that I found as well, that you actually played bowling when
Yeah.
when you were younger. You
Yeah.
represented Perlis in
What?
bowling.
Yeah, I did. That was a lot of fun. I still want to go bowling. Now that I'm back in KL, I'm always like, when can we go bowling? Like, can we go bowling this weekend? So I grew up, like, I think like Form 2, Form 3, Form 4, Form 5. I was like heavily in the bowling team, the school's bowling team. And then when we moved to Perlis, we didn't have like a bowling club or a bowling alley. Like Perlis is so small, Kanga is so small. And we would have to go to Elostar, like an hour away. We have to drive out and, train. So I still wanted that, like training. And I told my mom, hey, like, let's start a bowling team, from our school. And then my mom bowls as well. So we set up like a bowling team, and then I don't know how we end up becoming the Perlis team. We weren't that good, but there were some moments that I got like top 10 or like number 2. But we would compete in different zones, like the northern zone. So I would definitely be like the top 3 of the northern zone. So yeah, I was pretty good.
Why didn't that? Are you still bowling right now? Do you still love bowling right now?
No, I do want to go to the bowling alley. I don't know if I still have my gear, but it's probably super old. I would need to get new gears.
You
But
have gear. Wait, this is not like just any regular like recreation.
oh yeah, no, it's I went for Sukma, so like I competed in Sukma, Sukan Malaysia, and like 3 times. So yeah, it was the whole thing, the gloves, the bowling ball, the 3 bowling ball bag. I would drag it, like yeah. So the
Wow.
whole thing.
Pro lah.
Pro, yeah, I was a pro.
You're a pro. Now, let's get back to the singing
Yeah.
competition. When you didn't make it to the top 20 of that reality show, I'm sure you felt slightly dejected, right? Because you were saying that already you feel like you're not good enough as a singer and all that. Like, how did you pick yourself back up and continued singing?
I think after that, I was very, again, like I was coming from like the Marajo thing, So now again, like, oh, this is happening again. Again, I went into my Marajo phase, but not for long. Like I went back. I remember I checked out of the hotel where we were filming, and then I went back home. I kind of like locked myself in the bedroom, and then I cried a little bit. And then spoke to a really good friend of mine, and he said to me, you know, like, I know you started playing the guitar. Why don't you try writing your own songs? And I'm like, yeah, you're right. So I just needed that focus and that drive. So that same day, I just like, okay, you know what? Let's do this. Open up my laptop and started recording some, you know, guitar riffs, guitar progression, like chord progressions. And I came up with like 3 songs, and one of them was Deeper Conversation, which is still like on Spotify right now. You know, like it's on like everyone's like listening to Deeper Conversation now, and that was one of the first songs that I wrote on that day. So yeah, you know, like I just needed that focus and that drive, like from that rejection, you know. So yeah, I think thanks for eliminating me.
I think it's not because you're not good enough a singer, you just haven't found your own voice
Yeah.
in that sense, right?
Yeah, that's true. You know, because like I wasn't made for that competition. Like a lot of really talented singers are made for that kind of thing, and I wasn't, you know. So for years, like almost like a decade of going through the process of, you know, trying out and going for auditions, and, you know, oh, you know, you're not right for this. You know, oh, this is not for you, you know. So I'm like, then what is right for me? So at 19, I figured that out. So yeah, that was so nice, you know, to know that I'm actually great at something, writing songs, and I'm still doing it today. So yeah, it's fun, and it's nice to finally find the end game, you know, to that journey. So yeah.
Mm. Now tell us about a time when because you had a MySpace page,
Yeah.
and you uploaded all your own songs on it,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
you were discovered by a record label in America,
Yeah.
and they came
uh
to you.
yeah.
You said they were stalking you there at one point.
It's like, what went through your mind at that time? Like, wow, this American record label wants me to sign with them.
Oh, it was definitely a scam. That was like what the first thing that was in my mind. Like, this doesn't sound right. Okay, well, I'll just reply this guy who's my manager today. He's still managing me today. Like, it's been 10 years. Let's just reply him whenever I'm free. You know, this is because the amount of emails that I would get from the US at the time was a lot. Like by that time, like I was getting a lot of emails from overseas. So I had the privilege of just like, okay, who do I want to reply? So but Ben, my manager, was very consistent in like emailing me like, hey, can you get back to me, you know, and like, let's get on a call. And then instead of me flying out to LA, I told him, okay, you know what, why don't you fly out to KL so you get to see me, you know, the way I live my life, the way I do my work, and you get to come to me to shows. And at the time it was like one of the TV stations festival. Yeah. So this American dude, never been to Asia, came to Malaysia, KL. And obviously, you know, it's like a whole new world for him. And so he came to my shows. He get to see me, how I live my life, how I do my work with my family. He gets to meet my parents. And he was really cool, you know, the fact that I got to like meet him. And Ben is kind of like, he wears sneakers and he's young. And for me, in my head, thinking about an American manager is always like, I don't know, like an older dude, like a balding dude, just like big. It's just like, oh yeah,
In a Hawaiian shirt or something.
Yeah, exactly. But Ben was not like that. You know, he was just super cool. He's like, yo, man, like, what's up? Like, nice to meet you. So he's young, and, you know, he was signing a lot of really young acts and really cool ones. And so I was very excited about that, you know, because at the back of my head, while doing music in Malaysia, I was still like hoping that I could do something with my English music. That was like my first love. You know, I would have like 10 English songs and 2 Malay songs. So like, what am I going to do with all these English songs? And going to labels here in Malaysia, they weren't very supportive of me pursuing the English music. They would always come back to, but Yuna, yeah, you need to write Malay music, and I understand, you know, their point of view. But for me, it's like, yeah, no, I really want to do something with my English music because I think they're good enough to be international. But back then, you know, a lot of people would laugh at me. It was just like, no, no one's gonna listen to your English music. I'm like, but why? It doesn't make any sense, you know. Like, for me, I was already thinking like, people don't know now. It's the internet era where people would just listen and just like, oh, she sounds like she's from Chicago or something, and oh, you know, oh, she's Malaysian, and then they don't care, you know, like so I just really believed in that mindset. It's just like, I really think I'm good enough for the international market. So yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, go ahead.
The manager bit though, right? At what point did you really think he would come down to Malaysia?
No, I was very surprised. But you know, like okay, cool. So he's coming, and we were like, oh my God, Mom, this American guy is coming. I don't know what to do. And then my mom, at the time, they were already talking on Facebook. You know, they were Facebook friends already, my mom and my manager.
Right.
I'm like, wait, you're friends with my manager, with my future manager? So, but he was, you know, he was a sweet guy. I'm really glad that I get to like meet him that way and show Malaysia and show like, this is nasi lemak. This is, you know, like my mom and dad. Like, okay, this is how I wear my scarf. I'm never taking it off, just in case you're wondering, you know. So, just like stuff like that. Like so now he knows where you know I come from, the kind of family that I have, and the kind of things that I am okay doing, you know. So yeah.
And you knew he was a real deal,
and
right?
he flew all the way, so you know that he's sincere and it's not a scam.
It's not a scam.
He didn't ask for a
I don't know. Sometimes I just look at him now. I'm like, are you scamming me right now?
10 years.
No, but
now, do you think an English singer-songwriter, do you think they have to go overseas to be able to make it big in the music industry, especially if you're an English singer-songwriter?
I mean, just try to at least try and find like an opportunity outside of Malaysia. I think like even Singapore, that's how I started, you know. Go to Singapore, or I don't know, the closest would be like maybe try out the Australian music industry. But for me, it was either like Europe or the US. You know, I was ready to go to either the UK or Los Angeles or New York, and just maybe spend 3 months, 6 months there and see if I can perform at like cafes. And they have a lot of these type of places where they just like have open mics. And I don't know, for me, it's just like, let's just do it, you know, at the time. And I think you just really have to go through that as a practice. And in Malaysia, we don't have that culture. We do have that culture, but it's just very small. And instead of like touring different states, you know, like a lot of artists in the US, like they do that a lot. Even the smaller scale, when they're doing music at a smaller scale, they're still like doing tours, and they're so used to performing, you know. So I think at some point, like if I were to give an advice to any Malaysians wanting to try out the international music scene, or you know, like the English music thing, like if you want to pursue your English music, just try performing outside of Malaysia, you know, like, but at the same time, don't forget the local market, because that's your fan base that's going to help you, that's going to understand what you're trying to do, you know. And those are the fans that are going to be with you in the next like 10 years and still like, oh, I discovered this artist, you know, I discovered him, I discovered her, I'm going to support his music or her music, you know, forever. Like, okay, like he's in the UK, I'm going to tweet about it. So I still have fans who do that for me, you know. So
yeah, I watched you in the early days, and you were playing in some college, and it was a college gig, and I can't remember what year this was. And I went with who is now my wife and also my sister-in-law, Then she was like, "Oh, this girl is really good. She can sing and she can play the guitar." And I'm like, "Into college, all right, cool." So I watched it and I'm like, "Who the heck is this girl?" Right?
Was it in MMU?
Yes, yes,
Oh my god, that's my first show. You went to my first show.
yeah. That was
My
a
first show
long time
ever.
ago.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
My
man.
first proper like college show with a band, and that was a show that a lot of, because it was like a huge hall, right?
Yeah, yes, yes.
That was the first show when I got booed actually. The first few minutes, like people were booing me at the front.
Oh man, what? I went in midway, and so I probably missed that bit though. But why were
Yeah.
they booing?
I don't know, because it was my first show,
Right.
and in Malaysia, like wearing the tudung and playing the guitar was something very new. And I think people didn't know how to react. Like the only people who knew about me were like the independent scene and my bandmates and my friends. That's it. So that was like the first time I performed. So like like in public. So I think the first few moments they were like, "Ele, apa ni?" Kind of
Right.
just like
Who
heckling.
is this? Can play
Who's
guitar?
this?
No.
Exactly. Like
Right.
even you were like, oh, who is this?
Right, yeah.
So um but after a while, after like the second song, they started to get it, and by the end of it, I thought like, okay, whatever, it was just a show, because I'm so used to it, right? I'm so used to rejection, like, so I'm just like, okay, whatever, like, it's done, we got our money, let's go. So and then I went out and there was this huge line. It really was like a scene from a movie, It's like this huge line lining up. I'm like, what's all this? Oh, maybe they're like lining up to get Hujan, another rock band who is really huge,
Yeah.
and maybe they're lining up to get Hujan's signature or autograph or like CDs. And then I went to my booth, which before nobody came, and that was the line for my booth. So I ended up taking photos and selling out all of my 100 EPs. I printed out 100 CDs from my laptop. Yeah, it was like that night before, like burning CD. So yeah, it was really nice. So the power of music, like you just never know if you're good enough. That's why I keep telling like people, especially like the young Malaysian singer-songwriters, just do it, just perform it. You'll just never know who's gonna like your music. There's something for everyone. Yeah. And you just have to start something. So yeah.
Now, when you went to America, after being signed under a record label there, was it tough for you in the beginning?
Yeah, I think in the beginning it was tough in the sense that I didn't know, like where I would fit in, because there's a lot of like, categories. Like, is she a pop singer, or is she a folk singer? Is she a singer-songwriter? Is she like a jazz singer like Nora Jones? So all these different like, so that's the struggle for every singer-songwriters, I think, like in the beginning, like trying to get into like the mass, and what do you call it, the mainstream music scene. Like, okay, what am I? And but other than that, like, of course I miss home, but I was excited about what I was going to do, like recording. I've never had that experience recording with a real producer. Yeah. And it was like magical. It's like this guy just like, okay, what do we feel like writing today? And then brrring, and then like recording, and then I just record my vocals, and then done. It's like the song is done, So I never had that experience before. So I was doing a lot of those sessions, and it really taught me how to write better, sing better. And that was all like, like I wanted. Even if at the time, if that didn't work out for me, I would probably come home and use that and make my own music here in Malaysia, So and tough also, I don't know if you're wondering about like me being different, like if there's like some sort of like maybe like racism, not really.
Discrimination.
Discrimination, not really. Or maybe if God also, I don't like you know, like I
You don't pay attention to
Turn
it.
off your
Yeah.
shoulder.
Yeah, I know. It's like if, but you know, we're like kind of Malaysians. We're just like, oh, what's happening? Kind of blue. So, so that's, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Like I'm very, very blue. I'm like, oh, what's happening? Oh, was that? Oh my God, was that like discrimination? Like that's kind of cool, you know. But
I've heard of it before.
I've heard of it before. No, I mean, like, it's definitely not cool when that happens. Yeah. But I just kind of kept on doing my own thing. And then lucky for me, my team, they were very supportive. They understand what I'm trying to do. They understand my background, and they were very proud of it. You know, my manager was very proud of it. Everywhere he goes, he would say like, oh, you know, like this girl, she's amazing. She's a Malaysian Muslim, you know, but she, you know, you wouldn't guess like how she sounds like or something like that in the beginning, you know, like you wouldn't guess like she's from like Malaysia. So he was very proud of that. And I had a lot of people in the beginning who were very like, you know, they were really cheering me on, and my friends included back here in Malaysia. So yeah.
Nice. Now, after being, I think you've been in America for about 9 years now,
Yeah.
since 2011, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Out of all the award nominations, some of the wins, billboards at New York's Times Square, multiple albums, working with Pharrell Williams, duetting with Usher, you know, having your songs in the US Billboard's charts, like which of these achievements would you say is your proudest?
Probably, let's see. Definitely being in the studio with Pharrell. And yeah, probably the Usher thing. The Usher thing. Probably like I think the proudest moment was having a song with Usher. I tried really hard keeping it a secret. I wanted to surprise the whole country. I wanted to surprise Malaysia. But we kept that song. We already had that song, I think, like for almost like 4 months, you know, before the album came out. And I remember David Foster was in Malaysia, and at the time he was the head of the label that I was signed to. And then, you know, like reporters were asking him, oh, how's Yuna? You know, what are the projects that she's working on? And then he just blatantly just say, oh yeah, she's cool. She has a song with Usher. It's coming out. Yeah, no, check it out. And I'm like, oh no. But you know, like, I love David. He's awesome. He's a really funny guy. And but yeah, so after that, you know, people were just like, oh my gosh, we want to hear the song. But I think that was like my proudest moment. I think when the song finally came out and then it reached, I think that was like the highest that I've ever gotten, like in the furthest I've ever gotten, like in the Billboard music charts, like adult R&B chart. So yeah, I'm very proud of that.
How does it feel to be on a billboard at Times Square?
Not just once, I think twice, multiple times.
It feels, it's cool. I just wish I was there to see it, you know, like I think it's a different feeling, because even yesterday, like I went to Pavilion, and then my Nike ad was on Pavilion, the huge billboard, right?
Yeah.
And I was freaking out. I was like, oh my God, you know, like holding my phone, like, it's insane. It's so huge. The billboard is so huge. So imagine me in New York. Like I've been to Times Square a couple of times, and I still like get like, you know, like, wow, New York, like very excited to be there, you know. And so I can't imagine the feeling seeing my face there. I don't know. It might weird me out. Maybe I'll be like, okay, change, you know. Okay, time to change. But I think, I don't know, like it's just it's really happy to be recognized. I think like I worked really hard, and I've been through a series of challenges in life, and it's nice to be recognized for what I'm doing, you know, and to be appreciated like that. It's pretty cool.
Okay. I know you're back in Malaysia right now, and you come back to Malaysia pretty often throughout the 9 years that you've been based in LA.
Yeah.
why do you think it's so important to come back? Besides missing family, of course. Yeah.
Oh, I think to keep my sanity. I think like I need to come back to Malaysia for the food, for I don't know, friends, family, and I don't know. It's just like because I'm from here, right? So like I feel like Los Angeles is probably my second home, but my home is definitely with my family, you know, wherever they are, like here in Malaysia, like this is my home, you know, and it's different. I don't know how to explain it, you know, and I don't get it when people like move out from Malaysia and forever staying somewhere else. I'm like, but why? It's just so nice being back home. And for me as an artist, as an international artist, like after 2-3 months of being on tour, you know, and being in that machine, the entertainment industry in Hollywood, like I think to take care of my mental health, I need to come back to Malaysia and reset, you know. So that's I think that's what important to me, at least, you know, like I need to come back and check on my family and eat Malaysian food, of course. And yeah, just be a Malaysian for a little bit until I'm ready to go back to LA and do my work, you know. So yeah.
So you haven't gone into the quinoa and avocado toast yet over there?
Oh, of course I'm into quinoa and avocado toast. It was a little bit weird before, you know, like avocado, why would you eat avocado? And but now I'm just like, ooh, avocado toast, please. You know, like, with chili on top. But yeah, no, it's still over there. We have like a lot of really good Asian restaurants. Like unfortunately, no Malaysian restaurants in LA. But there's a really good Indonesian one. So whenever I miss Malaysian food, I would go there and eat the nasi goreng, or they do have nasi lemak, you know, but of course it's not the same, but at least something lah. So
Are you the type that will bring like your own Malaysian chili sauce everywhere you go?
oh yeah, definitely.
Really? What?
No chili sauce. I would definitely like, you know, it's really hard to find the sauce chili, but yeah, I have my ways.
I can see you just going around and then whip out, this is my mom's sambal belacan. You know, you know?
No, really. A lot of people think that, you know, like being in America for a long time, you know, like they like to say like, oh, Yuna is Americanized now. Yuna, I'm the most kampong girl in the US, you know, so I still use the bamboo broom, that one, you know, like it's just something that I do that I like, you know, like I still have Maggie asam laksa in my cupboard. So yeah, I still have the instant coffee 3-in-1, even though like everywhere you go, like, oh, like, you know, expensive fancy coffee, and then I thought, yeah, cool, it's nice, and then I go back home and it's like, you know, 3-in-1 coffee. So yeah, I'm just still that same girl, you know. So
Where did you get the bamboo broom from? Did you like
I
bring
don't
it
know.
from Malaysia?
Honestly, you have to ask my mom and my dad. I don't know where they're just like, it's like magic. When you have like Asian parents coming to LA, they just find these things. I don't know, where did you find this broom? Because like she's like, oh, at the store, I don't know, we were walking and then we saw it, we bought it, you know. So like, what? So yeah, it's still there in my house.
Now, are there any advantages to being Malaysian or Asian as a singer in America?
Definitely, you know, like because being Malaysian, you come from a very rich culture, you know, like we every day we live it, we see it, we smell it, you know, and it's different from whatever that you know they have in America.
Yeah.
I mean, it's also like they're great in their culture in like music and arts, like it's amazing, right? But we come from like culture, so I think it's important to really see that as an advantage, and bring that wherever we go with us. And we also have like, I don't know, we're, you know, like I don't know how people see Malaysians or like how we see our own. Sometimes we like to be critical of our own people. Yeah, we like to say that, oh, Malaysians so rude, Malaysians so this, but when I'm out there, I'm like, not really. Malaysians, we still have that budi pekerti, budi bahasa that we carry with us automatically wherever we go. And I think that helped me a lot in my career, it's also, like my parents raised me to be like that, very respectful, and like adapt to any situation that you're brought into, so with me over there, I think people in the beginning, like people would treat me as like a singer. Maybe they would think that I'm just like any other artist, like maybe a little bit diva-ish, and then they see me, I'm just like this like Malaysian girl, and I'm super easy to work with, and in the end, like they like working with me, so I end up getting the job again, and again and again and again. And if I work with a producer, and they have experience working with me, they want to work with me again. So I think that's like, because I come from culture, I come from like being in Penang, being in KL, being in Perlis, and so I think if we have that, we need to really know that that's our strength, like we're very unique, and you can't find that anywhere else in the world. I think Malaysia, it truly is like just one of its kind, like very unique. And so yeah, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, you are a very grounded and very humble person. But let's say, are these some of the qualities that one must have if you want to become successful overseas, but still retain your roots?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I think not to say that, oh, I'm like the most humble person, but you need that, like, to go out there, because it's going to ruin you when if you go out there with like thinking that everything, it's going to just ruin you, and just like you're just going to lose the game. It's like a badminton game. You're just going to lose it, so you just need to come into it like as a student at all times. For me, like I still feel like I'm in law school. I still feel like I'm that university student, like going into class and learning. So I like to keep that attitude with me wherever I go. Like when I walk into like a session, I'm always very respectful, like, hi, how are you? Let me see your work. Oh, this is amazing. So I do that when I work with people everywhere, not just in the US, here as well. And I greet them. I make sure I greet everybody in the room. So these are the kind of things like sometimes people take for granted, like I always hear about negative things about how people lead their professional life, and like, for example, just walking to a shoot and not talking to anyone. And I can't take that, even though if you're like the biggest celebrity in Malaysia or in the world, like I don't know if I can do that, and because maybe also I know a lot of really successful people, famous people, who don't do that and they're successful. So why do you need to be that way? So always remain humble. And I'm very fortunate to be able to meet people around me who are very inspiring, who play like a really positive role model, for me. So yeah, I try to be that for everyone else as well. So yeah.
You didn't let fame get to you, but I mean, I'm sure there are people who will let fame get to them and sort of lose the sight of who they are, right? They try to change because they're now famous, and they cannot be who they are.
Well, I think it's very, the fame is very different for everybody. Like how everybody copes with it is very different, because it can get very stressful. In the beginning, I didn't know how to cope with it, because people were constantly, following me with the camera. And at the time, everybody started having like, camera phones. So this is 10 years ago. Yeah. So everyone just started like, ooh, ooh, camera phone, Yuna, you know, so Yuna's eating, Yuna's coming out of the toilet or something. No, for real. So that's the kind of things that we have to deal, you know, like it's not like the worst thing ever, but it's definitely like something that you have to like be smart about. Like, okay, how do I deal with this? And how do I still remain nice and like respectful, you know? So now that I'm a little bit older, in the before, like maybe I have like my moments like where I would be kind of like not nice, you know. I admit like I'm not like the nicest person before, but now I try to remember, like I try to, you know, if people are trying to take photos with me, I rarely say no. And if I'm on my way going somewhere, I would, you know, always talk to them and like, I'm sorry, I have to go somewhere, you know. I would never like ignore them on purpose. So because I know how that feels, you know. So so yeah, just like stuff like that. And I understand for other people, you know, maybe they're so stressed out about it. They're like, oh, I can't take this anymore, you know. So but for me, I went through that, and then after that I just learned to let go and just like let life happen. And if I'm not prepared to be that person, I won't go out of the house, you know. Like if my emotional state or like my mental state is like not 100%, I wouldn't go out in public and, you know, meet people. So I would always remember to be, you know, like happy and friendly when I go out.
Let's just say next time you go on a massive world tour. I think at one point, I don't know why I think I was in Amsterdam and I saw your name appear and then you were supposed to perform at Paradiso or something. I was like, what? You're not there,
Wow.
right? And then I was like, cool. So if you ever go on a massive, massive world tour, if there was one Malaysian thing that you were like, I demand for this, what would it be? Nasi lemak or something like that.
Oh yeah, maybe nasi lemak. If I go on a world tour, and my favorite thing to do when I, for example, in the U.S., anywhere else other than Los Angeles, they would have a really good Malaysian restaurant. I'm so mad, you know, like because if I go to Seattle, I know where to go. If I go to New York, I know where to go for my Malaysian food. But there's one thing that I always do every time I go on a European tour. When I stop by Paris, there's a Malaysian, I don't know if they have, I don't think they have a restaurant, but it's called Nasi Lemak Paris. So on Instagram, they're called Nasi Lemak Paris, and I would always hit them up like, hey, I'm in town.
Oui, give me extra sambal.
And it's legit nasi lemak. It's so good. I don't know how he makes it, but I pray that he never leaves Paris, stays there. Like every time, you know, people come to Paris and they can just like reach out to him. Malaysians, if you're in Paris, of course, I think you already know this person. So yeah, it's like a treat, you know, and it's like a fuel. It's like, okay, I can carry on. So I have a really funny story. So this is last year in European tour, for my European tour, and we stopped by Paris, and then my whole team, yeah, so I ordered nasi lemak for every single one of them. And then my sound engineer, who's like this tall, lanky, blonde, blue-eye guy, just like, oh no, I'm on my diet, I don't want to have nasi lemak, you know, it sounds a lot for me. I'm like, okay, cool. So whatever, you know, like fine, I'll just order nasi lemak for all of us. So I made sure, you know, like, okay, everyone get a taste of nasi lemak. It's really good. People end up, you know, everyone end up like finishing their food. And we have like we ordered extra one to take for, you know, for like after shows. So we would like travel in the van to another state. So that's like a long drive. And then I was thinking, okay, like me and my husband, okay, we will split this nasi lemak, yeah, like when we get to the hotel, we'll be hungry. So let's split this nasi lemak. And when we get to the hotel, the same guy was like, I'm so hungry. Do you guys have any food? Of course, it's like 2 a.m. Hotels are closed. It's like a small town, like nowhere to find food. And then my husband goes like, oh, we have an extra nasi lemak. No. And I'm like, no. don't tell him that. And then he's like, oh yeah, sure, okay, I'll take it. I'm like, what have you done? You know, so
Do you like it though?
yeah, he did. He finished the whole thing. I mean, it's good. It's tasty, you know. So yeah, no, that's
It's not too spicy
story.
for the American taste.
No, yeah, no, I don't know how he makes it. It's really, really good. Yeah.
All right. So
Well-
that's one thing that Yuna will demand for nasi lemak.
Nasi lemak.
Now, lastly, Yuna, what have you learned about yourself and also about Malaysia since being abroad?
Well, number one, we're not perfect. Like I'm not you know, like always very critical, you know, very like hard on myself sometimes. Like I try to be perfect in every situation, you know. So I think like now that I'm a little bit older, I understand, you know, like I can't always be perfect. I have my flaws, and I always, you know, just have to try to be real. Like, okay, what's the realist, what do you call it? Um, oh gosh, uh, reaction. You know, like what's the realist reaction that I would do when it comes to this or that? You know, so I think yeah, just be sincere when you're doing something, you know, and when you try to fake it, I think that is when things get super difficult for you. And when you're sincere, when you're honest in doing your work, and that is when you come up with the best work, you know. So I try to be that way. Like every time I write music, whenever I go on tour, whenever I pick up like a job, or, you know, like I work with a lot of brands, and, you know, I just like try to have that in mind. Like, okay, like, you know, let's be sincere. Like, when I'm doing things, like, and do it like properly, you know, do it like 110%, because that's going to separate you from other people, you know. And sometimes like you feel lazy. Like, I think it's normal as a Malaysian, like you're always malas, you know. So
Just want to relax a bit.
yeah, because we come from a very relaxed like background, you know, like the weather is nice, the food is great, everything's cheap, you know, and we always get work. And it's not like New York where it's like go 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 go, you know. And but try to have put a little bit more effort into your work, and then that's going to separate you from everyone else, and that's when people will see the quality of your work, and your professionalism will shine through, you know. So yeah, I think that's what I learned throughout my 10 years in the US, I think. Yeah.
But do you think life would be different if you didn't go to the US for you?
Oh, I think so, definitely. I mean, like, it's the journey that I've been on. It's amazing, it's crazy, you know. And I've learned so much about myself, and a lot of really humbling moments, you know, happen to me when I'm out there by myself. And I'm just a different person now, you know. Like I'm the same, but I'm different. And for example, like coming back to Malaysia, you know, there are some friends who are still with me. There's some people that I, you know, like we lost contact. So, you know, it's just like it, you know, like how do I say this? It's like I don't know, like it's the journey was so unique. I still don't know if people understand what I went through, you know, like not even my parents sometimes like don't get it, you know, like I have my own set of challenges and like my struggles, and my husband, he's been with me like every day, yeah, so he sees what I do and what is, you know, difficult for me to do. And I understand that sometimes people don't get that, you know, like they think I'm just like, oh, she's a normal girl. But yeah, I think yeah, I would probably lead a different life and behave differently and react differently to different situations, you know. And now I feel like I'm a lot calmer when it comes to like things.
Mm.
I don't know if I could be that, because I remember my younger self, I'm always just like, like angry, agitated, annoyed with everything. But now I'm a little bit chill. I'm just like, okay, yeah, let's see what happens, like life is life. And especially with 2020 has been like kind of
Crazy.
difficult. Yeah, like for us, like losing family members, and the pandemic going on. So this is the time where you just get to like relax and reset and think about like how you can come out of this situation being a better person. Yeah. So
What's next coming up for you?
Next
are you going back
for
to
me.
America?
Hey, don't ask. David Foster will tell us everything.
Back to America, I don't think anytime soon,
Yeah.
because like it's so crazy out there, not just in America obviously, like the case has been like insane
In the
but yeah, so I think like it's nice to be able to stay home and everything is still like controlled over here. Like I'm very proud. I have to say I'm very proud of how Malaysia is handling it compared to like other countries. Um and the fact that we're able to find work or go to work, even for you guys, you're able to go to the studio. I think, like we're just gonna hang out for a little bit, see what happens. And when it's safe to travel again, we'll travel back to LA. I still have my home over there. I don't know what is going on.
mold growing in the fridge or something.
I know. So but it is what it is. Like we'll see how, and inshallah, soon I get to go back and plan my next move. But for now, like I think in the next 6 months I'll still be here, like in Malaysia and working, and it's been really good so far. So we really like our time here. It's very relaxed, very chill. So yeah.
Have you been writing lots of songs at home?
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh, that too. Like I'm having a lot of fun just like writing for my own project. Hopefully an album will be out soon. I'm just finishing up like some songs right now. But at the same time, I spend a lot of time at the studio, my friend's studio, Aizat Amdan, he just had this like just moved into a studio into TDI. So I'm always out there like creating and writing songs just for fun, even for him. So I really enjoy doing that right now. So and then I still need to go one of these days and play badminton with my husband.
And bowling.
And bowling. So these are the things like, in the US, maybe not really, I'm not going to do that. But in Malaysia, badminton, all right, let's go, So yeah, it's fun.